Welcome to Access Muscatine's Muscatine Viewpoint. We're on Muscatine Access Channel 9, and I'm your host, Chad Bishop. We are happy that you joined us. If you're tuning in on Channel 9, Muscatine Power and Water Cable, you're watching this live at 7 p.m. on October 16th. And if you are on Facebook, you might get a chance to watch it as well live. But no worries, we're going to record this and share it so that you can get to know some of our candidates that are running for City Council this year. Specifically, we've got the 5th Ward candidates. They are not running unopposed. They are opposing each other in a fun way that'll help make our community better. And you have a choice to make in this particular ward. And so I'm glad that both of our candidates are here, and we're going to get to know a little bit about them and then talk about some of the topics that are happening here in Muscatine, specific to the 5th Ward, and a couple things that are at large, if you will. Things we'll be talking about include the Peace Park, Muscatine Mall. We'll be talking a little bit about the French Fry Alley. Maybe they don't know what that is, but we'll let them know. Fireworks, that's coming up again. Let's see what these guys think about that. Without further ado, though, I'd like to welcome John Ginrich and Kirk Edwards to the show.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Here we are.
Yep.
Okay, so, all right, guys. Thanks for running for City Council, first and foremost. I want to know a little about each of you, and then why you're running, that sort of thing, just to give the viewers at home a chance to get to know you guys. So let's start with you, Kirk. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your background.
All right. Well, my background, I handle this like a resume.
Okay.
I served the United States Army, graduate of the United States Military Police Academy. Upon completion of my time in service, I received an honorable discharge, came back to Muscatine, was hired by the Muscatine County Sheriff's Department, part-time third shift correctional officer, worked my way up through the ranks, became jail administrator when we built a new jail. Spent 13 years with the Sheriff's Department. I was courted by the state to become an investigator for the Iowa Public Defender's Office. I took that position. I finished out 7 years with them, did my 20 years, went into the private sector, worked for a local company here. The recession hit, downsized. I went to the Postal Service, and within the Postal Service, that's where I'm at now. I've held the job of PMR, which is Postmaster Relief, Officer in Charge. Right now, I am a RCA. That's a rural mail carrier. Love the job. It's one of the best jobs I've ever had.
Nice. Yeah, that was kind of like a job interview.
Right.
So now I'll ask you the next question. Why do you want to work for us here at the City of Muscatine?
Well, I've always been involved in the community, and I've always wanted to serve my community. I've been coordinator of the Muscatine County Crime Stoppers program. I ran that. I did videos out here weekly, and I was instrumental in the neighborhood watch programs. I set those up across the county and the city and neighboring counties. Let's see what else I've done. I worked with veterans organizations for over 30 years, twice a week calling bingo for them. So could raise some money for impoverished disabled veterans. Did that for 30 years. And I want to serve. I like Muscatine. I think it's got some, it's a great place to live. I've raised my family here. It's a great place to work. I think it can do better, and I think I can help it.
So the reason you want to run is because you think there's some room for improvement.
Exactly.
And you've got some ideas of how to do that. We'll talk about those later.
Great. Yes.
Okay. Well, yeah, in a brief amount of time, we learned a lot about you. Thanks for that. And John, same kind of question. Can you tell us your background, your history here in town, and then why you want to run for office?
As Chad stated, my name is John Ginrich. Wife is Julie. We've lived here in Muscatine for a little over 30 years. Raised 3 students, 3 kids here in Muscatine. They've all graduated from Muscatine High School, and they're all Iowa State graduates. I personally am a graduate of Northwestern College in Orange City, Iowa. I have a master's degree from Northern State University in Aberdeen, South Dakota. While here in Muscatine, I worked as a special education teacher for 26 years at Muscatine High School. I also served as an assistant football coach and assistant girls basketball while at Muscatine High School. Retired 4 years ago. began driving the Muscabus for the city transit program here in Muscatine, and want to continue on my work here in Muscatine as a city council member. Julie and I are extremely proud to say that we are residents of Muscatine, proud of the city, and when I retired, the talk of public office and running for a city council position became more and more prevalent, and when the opportunity came available in the Fifth Ward, a little more encouragement from family and friends, and I made the choice myself. Of course, you got to make sure you've got the desire within you to take on a challenge like running for city council, and I'm full bore, ready to go. Want the confidence of the people in the Fifth Ward that I'll do a good job and be prepared and try to represent them for the city council as a whole the very best I can.
Great. Well put. Two fine candidates, and I'm excited to help you guys communicate to your platforms tonight. Specifically, the Fifth Ward. While I'm talking, can you bring up the Muscatine Gov website, and let's figure out where the Fifth Ward is. I already know, and I live in the Fifth Ward, so I'm extra excited to have you guys here, because each ward, obviously you represent the city, but you also have to think specifically about the geographical area which you represent. Some of the wards are a little easier to explain. You have the south end of town as a ward. The Fifth Ward, basically, you're going to have to go to the city's website, Jeremy, and scroll to the city council page, and then there's a button for the ward. If you can't get that, just go back to this, but you can navigate to that while we're talking. So, the Fifth Ward goes approximately from Mad Creek, I don't know if that's north or east, but basically the Muscatine Mall, Ripley's, Weed Park area, and beyond. And you guys both live there. That qualifies you to run this year. The incumbents, I noticed, aren't running at all, for the most part. You might have followed the situation with our city council. We had a little bit of turmoil, and the spots are open. So let's talk a little bit about the Fifth Ward. What's an area of the Fifth Ward that, Kirk, that you kind of noticed that you want to address early on if you were elected, as far as something you want to make part of your platform?
Well, the biggest part that I see a problem is under service, or right now we have a problem with EMS and fire in our area. Time it takes to get to the call. We're way over what is required, the standards. Oh, sorry, I hit the table. But the standards are some of the areas in the Fifth Ward take up to 12 minutes to get to by a fire truck or an ambulance.
From our downtown to the far end of Fifth Ward.
Right.
Okay.
And that's not acceptable to me. If we had so much traffic out in that area now with the 3861 bypass area, and in all the commerce out there in that area, there's calls probably 10, 15 a day out in that area. And I've watched fire trucks try to get down Park Avenue, at every light gets stopped.
Huh. Yep.
And if you're in a situation, here's the deal. My neighbor house caught on fire. Well, actually, the garage caught on fire. And by the time the fire truck got to my neighbor's house, my wife got the older woman out of the house, and neighbors had attached hoses to their houses and was fighting the fire so it didn't get to her house.
Wow, okay.
And there's a problem, and it needs to be addressed.
Well, I know I live right behind Weed Park, and for a while before we were annexed, we were actually serviced by the Wilton Fire Department.
Right.
So my homeowner's insurance was a little higher. They explained, it's going to take a while for the Wilton Fire Department to get there. You're probably going to have a total loss on your house if it happens to burn. Now I have city services, and I'm not quite as far out. But so I can feel what you're saying. It's an important issue. But what's the solution then?
Well, the solution, there's been a report that was just released a couple of days ago, and I don't have it with me, but there needs to be another fire station, substation in that area.
Okay. John, what are your thoughts on this topic?
Well, I think from getting around and doing some campaigning and so forth, the things that I hear most often from our citizens that I talk to are some pretty standard things about, concerning infrastructure. And so the city's responsibility to make sure that we've got good communication system, good sewer and water system, sanitation and so forth, all the infrastructure necessary for that is certainly a priority with the people in the Fifth Ward. We've also, I also hear a lot, quite often, you wouldn't believe it, well, maybe you would, but the thing I hear most often when I'm out talking to people is, they want their potholes fixed, they want junky yards cleaned up and junky properties, and they don't want their taxes to go up. And, the solution to all those things is just, better management possibly with maybe some building code situations and making sure that we've got strong infrastructure to assure that our streets are getting fixed and alleys and so forth. The good thing is, some encouragement. I believe at last week's council meeting, the city council passed a alley repaving project. So when I get on the city council, hopefully, I'm going to raise a vote that all of the alley repaving funds go to the Fifth Ward.
Okay.
That's kind of a joke.
Yeah,
Okay.
I wasn't sure where you were going with that. Yeah.
But
well-
I'm sure Fifth Ward will see some of that, and we'll continue to see some improvements. There are other, economic things as well, but
We might
Even
touch
with
on some
some,
of those as we go through the
basic
interview.
things, I think, yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting. I never thought about what you're hearing about, but downtown's ward might be parking, but potholes isn't going away. I don't notice that we have more potholes than other towns, personally. And one solution to fixing our streets is to have more taxes. But there's another solution, and that's bring more money in. And one way to do that is through the Peace Park merge development opportunity, where $52 million investment will come into Muscatine, changing that particular area into a $32 million property value. So the more people that live here, the more houses we have, the more taxes we collect, and the more businesses that live here, we have more tax revenue and maybe even lowering taxes, all so that we can fix the potholes. I mean, and the pothole thing is a joke, but it doesn't go away. And actually, that's where the rubber hits the pavement. I mean, it's always pervasive. How to maintain the city streets. Do you feel the city's doing an adequate job or room for improvement? Or, as I know we all lived in different cities, it seems like it's not specific to Muscatine,
Well, for me, I mean, if I drive down Park Avenue, you can't be in the right lane.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you'll tear your vehicle up. So, no, I don't think they're doing an adequate job. And
The park, well, okay, the Fifth Ward is part of the Fifth Ward, so that's a good segue to the Mississippi River Corridor project is completed. The next one slated is the South End Grandview project.
right,
It begs the question, and again, I'm so happy those are happening, but I think Park Avenue is next, right? What have you heard about that, or your thoughts about how to address the Fifth Ward as a part of the city that might need a little more love?
Park Avenue revitalization or a corridor improvement from the Mississippi River Bridge to the 6138 intersection is Phase 3.
Okay. Yep.
And what all will be coming of that, I'm not sure. I think there are a lot of things in the planning stages for that whole revitalization along Park Avenue. Certainly the potholes on Park Avenue are bad. I drive the Musca bus, and our instructions, we got to slow down, you can't be changing lanes all the time with that bus and swerving in and out of potholes, which makes it a pretty good challenge. I do know that the city has a matrix for fixing and repaving streets and alleys. And, the money has to be dispersed, in a fiscally responsible way. We probably are not being good managers of our budget if we throw everything into one pot. A lot of different areas of the city need to be taken care of. So I think the city's trying to be very conscientious and thorough with trying to get the main streets fixed up and patched up, but it is certainly frustrating. And it's an interesting situation too, if I just have another minute or so. You know, a lot of fun people and interesting people to talk with on the Musca bus.
Yeah.
And, you know, we'll be driving around and everybody says, Yace, we're ever going to get all these streets fixed, you know? And, or how come these roads are so awful? These roads are just awful and so bumpy. And the next thing you know, you drive, you know, the couple of blocks and here's all this road construction going on. So it isn't like, you know, we're not doing anything. I think we're trying to manage things and, you know, do the best we can. There's certainly room for improvement.
Yeah, I think once that matrix, once one road's finished, then they go to the next, and then by the time they've got through all the roads, the road that they fixed 10 years ago is overdue again. So
Yeah.
kind of a never-ending
Yeah.
a saga, and I would be interested to have that job for a while because I'm sure they're doing a great job because that's not an easy task.
No.
And the funding, I'm sure, is not, it's limited. You know, it's not, they don't have money all over the place. If you've been to maybe some richer towns, Naperville, Illinois, or maybe Beverly Hills, they might not have as many potholes, but I can tell you why. It's because they're taking more percentage of their property taxes are going towards that. So if people really want better roads, we should tax people more, in my opinion. Or, like I said, I think a lot of great things are happening to bring in more revenue from outside sources. And that would be something that we could key in on there to fix the potholes. But you're gonna, if you did win, and people know you're a city council member, and same with you, they're gonna probably bring up a lot of different topics, and because you'll have an opportunity to be their voice as far as that goes. Jeremy, were you able to navigate through the websites? Because that was kind of so when you get to the website, you can navigate to it, because I want you to go to peaceparks.org at some point. Okay, this is going to come up again if you guys were elected. How do you think the fireworks thing played out? So I know that they let us do the fireworks from 9 p.m. to 11, 2 days, July 3rd and 4th. And I bought fireworks, and I lit them off in the 5th Ward. Felt kind of guilty about it, but it was just a 2-hour window, and I did my part. All the tax money from the fireworks goes towards the MCSA, goes towards our state, lowers our taxes. But not everybody enjoys, the dogs don't enjoy fireworks apparently. How do you think, or what would you say, we'll go to you first, if it comes up to a vote, what will your thoughts be about the city's ordinance with respect to fireworks?
Fireworks, of course, are legal in the state of Iowa. Mm-hmm. And local jurisdictions, the city and counties have the freedom to set those parameters on how the fireworks and where the fireworks can be sold. So there is a financial benefit to having the parking lots, spaces leased, and firework companies taking, leasing the spot from some grocery store lots and so forth. And so there's some economic value to it. And, to say that I think it's okay for a firework program to continue and not show concern for the responsible and safe use of fireworks so that we don't have disasters, and terrible situations happen with injuries and so forth like we had last year. That would be a first and foremost concern. Public service messages or whatever the case may be, a little more of a announcement from Channel 9, all the media outlets, make sure you're using your fireworks safely and so forth. So I think a lot of families have fun shooting off fireworks. 2 years ago when fireworks were started, I know of people who were really gung-ho. They shot fireworks off, big time. And now this year, same people complaining about fireworks.
Yeah.
So it's a controversial issue for sure. I think, a day or two, the day before the 4th of July, the day after, the restriction on the hours and things like that gives us an opportunity to go through another year, another 4th of July season, and then the council, hear arguments and so forth after that. So
Iowa City just has a full-on ban, for example, so it doesn't sound like you're in favor of that. What are your thoughts on fireworks as far as our current ordinance, or what you would propose if you were elected?
Well, every ordinance, if I get elected, I think can be revisited. I'm not saying fireworks, but I think every ordinance. And moods change, attitudes change. But I think what people should do is probably be a good neighbor. If you're going to shoot off fireworks and you know somebody has a dog or someone's a disabled veteran or something like that, I think you should probably communicate with your neighbor. Say, hey, we're going to go shoot off some fireworks. And so they ask you, geez, it's going to do something bad for my family or whatever, then maybe possibly think about, well, all right, going to some other location to do it. I think you need to think about your neighbor first. I don't have a problem with fireworks. I shot off fireworks too.
Nice.
And
So you're advocating for the freedom of the individual to have some control over their decisions, and like you said, advocate for safety,
Right.
but still let the people have this freedom, especially on a holiday that celebrates our freedom.
exactly.
I lit off fireworks. I couldn't believe I was able to light off this great firework, right above. It was so beautiful. But an hour or two is all I needed, and the buzz of it kind of wears out. I think everybody's excited at first, but now it's subdued, and I'm surprised people make that much money selling fireworks when you can only light them off for 2 hours.
You have them twice a year though, right?
Yeah.
So.
Well, New Year's. So, that's an interesting topic, but these are things that come up. I talked to Kelsey, and he kind of gave me some ideas of some topics that he thought might be good to talk about because he knows that they're coming up again. And
So it wasn't like pit bulls and roundabouts and
yeah.
chickens?
Yep. Well, that's literally what he told me to talk about. I did that last time, so I was going to kind of do some more Fifth Ward
Okay.
specific things since you guys aren't at large, but pit bulls, chickens, and roundabouts are a big deal. For the sake of entertaining myself, I picked a couple new topics as well. But what about the authority of the mayor? The mayor's running unopposed. I'm not sure. I have some thoughts on that. I'm not keeping them to myself, but that's not a bad thing. It's noteworthy. It's not quite as fun for me because I can't have them on, have the mayor on. But it looks like she's going to win.
Possibly, yeah.
But there was some talk that maybe the mayor, not our mayor, but a mayor in general. Some mayors have voting rights and have a little more power. And again, this isn't specific to our current mayor. I just mean the mayor in general, Muscatine. What do you think about how we have the structure set up with the mayor and the city administrator and the council? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, we've, in Muscatine, have had the current structure of a mayor-council relationship, our city government for decades. And the process has always worked pretty well. There has been some controversy in the last few years, but I would be in favor of continuing to maintain the same process. I think with a lot of new faces on the city council, and probably the desire of everyone who's going to be on the new city council, mixed in with the good faith efforts of the people who are currently on the city council, and the I think good faith efforts of our mayor, to be doing what's best for the city of Muscatine, that issues will all work out. And there's always going to be some controversy.
Yeah.
And but all the new faces, like I say, it's an opportunity for a fresh start, so to speak, and for good things to perpetuate and continue on in the city.
What are your thoughts on the situation with the structure of our city government?
Well, the people spoke last election, didn't they? They weren't pleased how the mayor was treated and what they had done to the mayor. And I said earlier, I believe everything can come back in front of the city council again. If the people vote saying that you've done her wrong or did the mayor wrong, I think you need to listen to the people that put you in office. And the last group of city council people did not, and they got voted out.
So there was the council isn't necessarily a partisan thing, Republican and Democrat, but I can say that certain values exist: a liberal approach and a conservative approach. We'll use those words. And let's just theoretically say that maybe the past council was more of a conservative nature. Maybe the word is Republican. I'm not sure. I did notice that they're all males and happen to be Caucasian. But what I'm also noticing now, though, is that they were voted out. when I mean, a couple tried. This year, nobody's trying. So is there any slight concern I have that maybe things now go the complete opposite side, or is there hope that there'd be a nice homogeneous, nonpartisan, like you mentioned, eager council that can kind of put that aside and go forward?
I don't think that there's anybody running for office right now that is partisan. I mean, I think they really want to move the city forward.
Okay.
And that's where I'm at. I think, I'm hoping that the negativity is behind us now and we can move in a positive direction.
It seems like it is
Right.
going that way for sure.
And if we can continue that on, that'd be great.
Do you have any thoughts as to why? I mean, I was just surprised that is there 4? Like the incumbents didn't run at all. Do you have? That's unusual. Do you have any thoughts on that, or? I guess we'll just ask them as far as that goes.
Thoughts on what, Chad, or?
Well, I was just wondering about. I've just noticed that the incumbents didn't run and nobody opposed the mayor. That's noteworthy. It's not bad.
I think that the incumbents were, afraid of getting beat.
Yeah, maybe they'll burn out too, because this is kind of a thankless job. You guys are, you're going to get thanked a lot, but people complain a little louder than they praise, and
Right.
I'm sure you know that. For every one complaint, though, trust me, there's 10 people that really appreciate the efforts you guys are doing.
Well, and, the incumbent's not running. I haven't surveyed them or asked them or anything like that, but they're not running. And so the new opportunity presents itself to the new people, and, thank them for their service.
Yeah, definitely.
I think they, the council probably was always trying to do the best they could.
Yeah.
And make the best decisions, so.
I think Phil was
I don't-
just.
I think
I think
we do
Phil
have a
just
little
yeah.
diversity on the council, quite possibly this year, so.
Well, at large, we have
upcoming.
Daniel Salazar and Hopkins. That's pretty diverse. We've got a young man who's 19 who goes to MCC, alumni like you. Maybe you were too. I don't know. I wasn't, but
No.
I appreciate that you were. And Dwayne Hopkins was a mayor, and now he's decided to kind of step up and see if he can make a difference from that angle. Okay, so let's move on. I don't know if we get the graphic per se, if you can find the Peace Park, but I'm not completely sure about how. I did some research, and recently at the last council meeting, 5-2 vote, they voted to allow merged development to be back on the table again. So, what you do, Jeremy, is you scroll to the Peace Park one. So don't go ahead and take that down until you get it, and then cut to it once you find the page. Merged urban development has done great work in Waterloo, according to the article I read from the Muscatine Journal. There's a piece of land next to the river by Carver Corners that is available now. They're proposing a $52 million investment into Muscatine. So right off the bat, yeah, okay, thanks. That's kind of like what the hotel did. 300 residential units, so that's apartments, condos, probably not houses, but mixed use. 20,000 square feet of first floor rental space. The property value of that space won't be something I'll be able to afford if they sell it. $32 million. Here's the fun part, because we can fix our pothole situation with the merged development. $218,000 new revenue for the county, so they can get their slag going out there, fix the bridges. $325,000 more cash for the schools. $368,000 for the city to fill in potholes. There we go. That's the power of when new businesses come into TIF districts. Mr. Malcolm and Brocker voted against this. The others want to proceed with allowing them to hear the vote. I'll talk a little bit of the Peace Parks next, but I know I asked you guys to I'm sure you're aware of the situation.
Right.
If you are elected, it's going to be up front, and you guys are going to get a chance to weigh in. So let's let you guys weigh in right now your thoughts of the situation.
Well, any investment in our community is a great thing. I don't see a bad side to it. What I want to see the growth, but I want to make sure that we know what we're getting.
Okay.
I want more information. I went on their site, this merge site, and I looked at some of the buildings that they had built, and they're fine buildings, and I researched them, and they are well liked in the communities they've been in. Well, let's just, that land's gonna be there. Let's make sure that, this is taxpayers' land. We spent like $500,000 to get the land and to clean it up. And I don't wanna just give it away until I have more information. And basically, they're offering $50,001 for it. I believe that was
Oh,
the
okay.
number.
Right.
And I think the city spent $500,000 so far, so now we're at $450,000 in the hole. So,
Go ahead.
Well, a lot of that cost will be recouped quickly with, tax revenue and so forth. And the merge company does have a good reputation, as was stated by Peace Park people and other community interests and so forth. And a study conducted, I think, that began in 2012. The findings of that committee that was organized by a lot of influential and concerned citizens was that the area is a mixed-use area. So the whole concept of merge developing that area, the concern that Peace Park and other residents have about how the area is going to look is certainly, worth taking a look at. And I'm sure there'll be some changes and some things that have to be voted on and overseen. And our community development director, other concerned citizens in the community, and city manager and city engineer and all the people that are in charge of all that stuff will be trying to give us the best picture that they can about what decisions council might have to make about the merge project.
Do I have that right? Peace Park versus merge development, or actually, I read an article in the Voice of Muscatine. I think the Peace Park wants this merge development to happen so they can integrate their idea.
Yeah, no, if I said there's some kind of a controversy.
Well,
between-
change that graphic. I have that wrong then. Sorry. The Peace Park people will be on me about that. The merge development
I
will
didn't-
allow the Peace Park to work. No, this is
Yeah, I didn't notice that.
this is me talking, not you guys. So
Yeah,
I'm taking credit for that right now.
I think it's always, all entities involved are involved from the standpoint that they want what's best for the river, because,
So the Peace Park
Everybody does.
would be a part of this merge development.
well,
That's a question. If you guys know the answer,
they're two different entities.
yeah.
so it's
and
one or the other.
What I would like to see happen
Okay.
is the two actually get together and try
Oh,
to get
yeah.
a working agreement where something that works for both of them. They might not both get what they want, but I think they can integrate.
Because there's controversy. So I thought the Peace Park people were mad about something. I'm sorry, I haven't researched that part. I've researched Peace Park, so it sounds awesome. And I think they're two separate things. So Peace Park versus merge development. Put that back up.
We need to,
Because it's two separate. It's two. And what you're saying is maybe there's a
couldn't-
third thing, or maybe the city just holds on to it.
When they sent out the RFPs,
Okay.
they couldn't, the Peace Park people didn't feel like they could fulfill the obligation the city required for that RFP.
So they didn't submit a bid or
Right,
whatnot, a
or
proposal.
submit a request for that land. So and that's where we're at
So
now.
nobody else has submitted anything
Just the merge people, out of 75 RFPs that went out.
because they put a pretty aggressive proposal. Aren't we lucky to have somebody?
Oh,
I mean,
hey,
$52 million investment into a TIF district. What's,
Well, yeah,
what's the downside?
well, none right now. But see, you don't have all the information yet. I don't have all the information yet, as far as impact studies, land acquisition.
So are you proposing that something else might be better to go there?
No, I'm not. No, I don't have anything that I say is going to be better, but I want all the information before I would make a
That's
decision.
not a bad idea.
And I think that's kind of where the city council is now. Let's move forward, but let's not sign any contracts, no intents. And I think this is the taxpayers' land, and we bought it with taxpayer money. Let's get the biggest bang we can out of it. And that's what you're supposed to be doing as a council member.
Yeah,
You
makes
should
sense.
you should be getting all the information you can and then making a decision. I think the council has handled it correctly so far.
Cool.
Let's move forward.
Well, first they said that they kind of stopped it and then they rethought it. And so you agree
Right.
with the decision to bring it back up?
Yes.
What are your thoughts on this? I think kind of in agreement. Oh,
yeah, there's some concern that the merge proposal has apartments on the riverside of Grandview. there are some people that think apartments, there should be some further acquisitions and have apartment and some additional living space on the other side of Grandview Avenue, in that corner, some future additions. The geological tests and borings and all the preliminary work done for beginning the project development for merge. In my understanding, a lot of that has been done, and it's kind of a situation where, we're kind of ready to go. But is it the right thing to do to just take the plunge and get going? There's a lot of things. There's a lot of information that has been discussed, I think, behind. I don't want to say closed doors, but a lot of information and concern from people, and I think everybody just wants to make sure things are done right.
What are some concerns? I think you alluded to apartments. I don't understand why that's an issue, because housing is one of the big problems that we're having in Muscatine area. I've heard that the people that live in Davenport that work here, if we had some more housing, some more affordable housing too,
Right.
we could get people to live here. They could be property tax-based contributors instead of coming here, working, and then getting out of town. But
Well, I don't think the apartments on the Carver Corner site are necessarily a problem, but some people have thought that maybe it's something to consider, so.
I mean, we've been looking at basically wasteland for 20 years, so,
Right.
Right.
But a
You
large
know?
settlement, let's make sure we do it right, and,
Yep.
and a lot of good concerned groups, and so it'd be interesting to be on the city council and hear all this come about.
That land's gonna be, is worth a lot of money.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think of 7 acres on the Mississippi River, and it's, and what they've done with the riverfront is beautiful, and I'm not saying not to do this, I'm just saying let's look at our options here. Let's get as much information as we can, that someone would come in later and say, geez, I would have built this here. But what I would really like to see is, I like to see the Peace Park people and the merge people get together and
Yeah.
see if they can, it's,
Well, let's look at this Peace Park thing. Sounds awesome, actually. Now, Jeremy, remember there's this page here. It should be on the homepage. What's that? Bring stable. What is that? Dedicated to conservation. Okay, this is Peace Park. Yeah, okay. This is an international organization, so there's Peace Parks all over the place, and so that would be an honor, I suppose, to have one in Muscatine. But here's something that they talk about with commercial development from their website. We develop nature-based tourism and enterprise opportunities to ensure the long-term sustainability of protected areas. That doesn't sound bad.
right?
But it doesn't sound as economically forthcoming. However, it definitely sounds great. I mean, I don't think anybody's mad about it. And I've seen the sculpture. Hold on, I got a cramp here. No, just kidding. There's a pearl that'll be on the hand. This huge pearl. I don't know how huge, but if it's as big as I think they're going to make it, that would be a great opportunity for, I don't know, tourism is the word, but everybody
Exactly.
takes a little selfie in front of the clamor guy. He's not as big as I was hoping, but it's still like one more great reason to come to Muscatine. And I agree with you. I merge them together, but I don't know if it's that simple. But maybe that's what they're advocating for. Now, I'll admit I'm not as knowledgeable about what they're trying to do, but I know they're upset, but I'm not exactly sure why. The Peace Park advocates in town.
I did hear at like a city council meeting that that Merge had reached out to the Peace Park
Okay,
people.
good.
And hopefully they can come to some kind of agreement, and both of them being there, wouldn't that be great for our town? I mean,
Yeah.
tourism would be something, and this brand new building down there with stores at the bottom of it.
Now, where they should put that big sculpture with the big pearl on it is in the 5th Ward, not the mall we're going to talk about the next, but on not Mark Twain Overlook. It's actually called KT&T Hill. They should put it up there. Wouldn't that be awesome to have that big globe up there? You could almost see it from Davenport.
Right.
I mean, that would be a spectacle. And I'm not saying it's not great where they have it proposed, but I would always thought it would be great to have a little lookout tower to get you just a little bit higher from the the KT&T Hill. Here's the problem, because you guys are 5th Ward constituents. I happen to notice that the Muscatine Mall, and this is Amazon.com's fault, not your guys' fault, or mine. It's never going to be a mall again. There's no reason for it to be. But I want to talk about the Muscatine Mall next because it's in the 5th Ward. I've got some ideas of how to advocate for it, but I kind of noticed that the downtown is kind of the popping right now, if you will, for obvious reasons, with the hotel and some energy there in the corridor project. Grandview was slated next. What are your guys' thoughts about 5th Ward's representation? I'm specifically talking about the Park Avenue Muscatine Mall area, about just in general your thoughts about that, development-wise or...
Well, first of all, I don't want to slight the mall facility.
No, it's awesome.
Yeah, and there are a lot of really terrific businesses. I don't know if a lot is the right thing to say, but we've got some good, vibrant businesses that are going on at the mall. So repurposing and trying to bring new business into the mall is, I think, certainly a challenge to continue forward with. Retail stores throughout the country are all hurting in some ways because of the online shopping. People have the FedEx truck and UPS. The postals don't want to forget the postal service here today. They don't want to get out of here alive. But so the start. The whole retail store industry is a tough challenge. But the pocket businesses and the development, we have a new business going in at the old Long John Silver's. That's being demolished, and I know there's a new business going in there. I don't think it's probably appropriate for me. I think I know what business it is. But
tell us.
There's, huh?
What is it?
I'm not going to tell you. Big surprise. And
Is that your Muscabus hookup?
yeah, new Muscabus garage.
No, I mean, did you hear it from driving the Muscabus?
No, I can't.
What's your source?
No.
Oh, come on. Will you be able to
In
ring the
addition,
bell? Will you be able to
you know-
ring the bell at least? Can you give us a hint?
No.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
So revitalization along Park Avenue and the potential for that at the mall is the infrastructure to let the revitalization take place is the responsibility of the city. So the city needs to make sure that all the streets and the communication and so forth for private development to begin at the mall or to try to start up is all in place. And I think the city does a pretty good job with that. But look at some of the redevelopment that has gone on out on that in the town. We have the old Shopco, Econo Foods, a vibrant, what do I say, very active church has taken that area over, and it's become very pleasing to look at, a good part of the landscape, and well taken care of. Then across 38, we've got the Holiday Inn and the old Bandag building, taken over by Kent Corporation, and more jobs and revitalization there too. So a lot of that revitalization has to come from private enterprise, and the city and city council needs to make sure that we're set and ready to go to support any kind of new business that would come in there.
The two businesses you mentioned, Calvary Church and Kent Feeds, that's great, but they're not retail. So when Calvary Church took that over, it kind of created a little bit of a sprawl north, and that's great that Calvary bought that, but it did force the sprawl north because, you know what I mean, a church is different than retail. Looks beautiful, but just changes the whole.
And that's a good point to repurpose some of the area, maybe within the mall. Retail, as you say, retail is maybe not going to be the answer to some of that open
I've got
space,
the answers
just like,
here.
And your comment, no, I'll let you go ahead. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to let you respond first because this is more about you guys.
Sure. Well, if I could solve the problem for the mall, I wouldn't be sitting here because I'd be in Manhattan.
Yeah.
I'd be making some money because that's a problem all across the
Yep.
nation. And I know there's a revitalization program in place right now. In 2006, the city council put one in. There's abatement programs, tax abatements. I do know that the mall has got, I was told the mall had gotten 2 forgivable loans in the past. And it's just not what the shoppers are doing now.
Right, yeah.
And I don't know if you're going to be able to change that or not. And
No, Amazon.com, I'm not going to ever go into a store again.
Really?
There's no reason to.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, it keeps my business
It's
going good.
now they have like next day delivery. It's like never mind. Like you
Now-
can almost order it and then the doorbell rings and it's Amazon. So
Just don't do any drone stuff, all right?
drone delivery. Well, I guess the reason I'm bringing it up because you guys represent the Fifth Ward is just not that something needs to change that retail at the mall is going to ever is a problem you guys are going to solve. It's just that I just feel it's ignored a little bit. There's a term called urban backwaters, backwash. If we got to keep them all in mind when we're doing things. It sounds like the city has given forgivable loans and has done everything. Keep the streets good and then let the private owners have the best shot that they can.
Right.
Now, a couple things at the mall. The J.C. Penney was rumored to maybe be a educational center opportunity for the school district. I think that would be a great place for a trampoline barn. I don't know if that would work, but an event center might work. And there's something big, if you want to have an event. But I notice people walk in there, and it is not great to live in Iowa a lot of times in the year. It's cold and horrible, or it's humid. I think a formalized walking park would be a great opportunity for indoor fitness. I was hoping that we'd have a dome of sorts. And those dogs, why not have an indoor dog park, because who wants to walk their dog in the inclement weather? But it's set up in such a way, and the city actually did have a walking challenge. And so I think it's kind of a neat space because that's an indoor downtown if you think about it. That's an indoor version of our downtown. And in our weather, that can be a great thing. And as you mentioned, there are a lot of businesses in there. They're not closing or anything. They're just not the mall we remember.
Right.
You're not thinking that the city would take over the mall?
No.
Okay.
No.
Still be in the private
Yeah,
sector?
you just steer the pot a little bit and see if a private owner, see if Merge gets wind of this and changes the mind,
You're thinking outside the box, kind of, so to speak, are you?
Yep, literally.
But you
So we
you do have to have niche type of stores in there if it's going to continue. That's the only thing that's keeping North Park and that alive is niche
Yeah.
stores.
Couple fitness. There's a taekwondo. I think there's a dance studio. Those places for rent on the inside are expansive,
Anytime.
and they're
Quality
almost
cobbler.
turnkey.
Quality cobbler.
Yep. There's actually a lot of them.
Yeah, a lot of nice stores at the mall. And our community should support those stores, for sure.
Yeah.
Keep them there and keep them vibrant and going.
And as Fifth Ward constituents, you'd advocate and kind of remind people of that too, because there's only so much funding and whatnot.
How about an indoor archery,
Yeah.
rifle,
Yep.
small caliber rifle, and pistol range at the mall?
Yeah, I love it. Anything that you like to do outside, but you can't all the time, the mall. Right? Not by the walking park though.
All the bird hunters that are
Carry-
walking their
carry the target
dogs.
around.
To wear your orange vest if you want to walk with them all.
Yeah.
No, I like that. I mean, maybe you're kidding, but I mean, even skin can't. I mean, I could just see so many different reasons why it's healthy to be inside a lot of times when you're trying to be, and with Amazon and people not leaving their house, it's still a great opportunity to be active and vital in a big space. Sure. And that's one use that doesn't involve any change. So we're kind of coming to the end here. We could go on and on. We talked about a couple topics. I want to give you guys a chance to talk a little bit about why we should vote for you, and then closing thoughts. But let's just do that now. The episode answered it already, but talk to us about anything you want to say to the people watching about your candidacy here.
Well, like I said, I'm a community-oriented type person. I like to give forward. I think Muscatine's a great place to live and to raise. I've raised my kids here, and now I have grandkids here, and I see nothing but good things coming for Muscatine, and I see endless possibilities. We have such a lot of good resources. We have the river. We have good workforce. We have good people, and I think our citizens are probably one of our best assets. And I think we should sell ourselves to the rest of the country, saying, hey, this is a great place to live and to work and to raise your family. As far as you want me to close, I just want to thank you for the opportunity to be here.
Oh, thanks for coming.
It was enjoyable. It wasn't as stressful as I thought it was going to be. Like I said, it's a good place to live, and I want to try to make it even a better place, a better environment for everybody. Doesn't matter how much you make or what you do. I just want to make it a better place.
Great. Yeah, and I appreciate you running for office because that's the end of my sentence there. There's a little bit of work involved if you're elected, and you have a great opportunity to represent Muscatine. And your background sounds like you've got a lot of different areas that you've contributed to Muscatine and in your community. So you'd be a great asset on the council.
I'd like to thank you as well, Chad. The
Thanks.
program's gone very well, and it's always a pleasure to come out and talk to you. I want to promise the people of the Fifth Ward and actually any citizen in Muscatine that I'll try my best to be prepared and to use the best judgment I can possibly muster to be an informed and a responsible city council member. I want to conduct our business with the city council in a fiscally responsible way and continue to move Muscatine in positive directions economically and through the good quality of life that all of our citizens expect. I think running for city council is a challenge to be elected to a public office, a challenge that I want to take on. And I liken it a lot. I'm finding out more and more that a city council position is a lot like coaching. You don't coach for the money, and I'm not running for city council for the money. You have to run for city council and represent the people because you want to do it. Just as you want to coach kids and teach and that type of thing. So I will do my best to be the best possible city council member I can be. Thank you.
Great. Two great Fifth Ward candidates. Only one can win the election, but I think both of you can agree that it's more about the process and just giving you an opportunity to vote and to be a part of the process. So thanks for running again and for coming out. The other candidates aren't opposed, so they're welcome to come out. Everybody's welcome to be on the show. Everybody's been invited. Two people weren't interested to be on. And everybody else is invited. And I'm saying that because if you're watching this live or the rebroadcast, there's still time to be on Muscatine Viewpoint. The school board will be the focus of next week's episode. I believe there are up to 4 candidates coming out. Mr. Kelsey Brackett is the guest host. This isn't my show. I do have a show. This isn't it. This is the People Show. And you can be a guest host on the show anytime you want. Just give me a call at the college. And if you've got a viewpoint and want to communicate with your fellow residents, you're welcome to be a guest host as well. And again, if you're a candidate running for office or even unopposed, you can be on the 30th show. And other than that, please get out and vote this year. We've got a great opportunity with a lot of motivated and exciting candidates running for office. And thanks for watching Muscatine Viewpoint. We'll see you next week.